Hi guys, in today's video we're going to look into the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions of Excel. As an accountant you will likely use these formulas pretty much every day once you understand them, and if you're a student accountant it's vital that you understand these formulas because you will be expected to know them once you start applying for jobs, and they're likely going to be coming up in interview questions. They do appear confusing at first, but as soon as you've practiced them a few times they'll become very simple. If you're already an accountant and you don't use VLOOKUPs, then please stick around. These formulas, especially the VLOOKUPs, have saved me hundreds of hours because once you understand how to use them, you're going to find so many different ways that you can utilize them in the work that you do. You can use this function to look at both numbers and to look at text, and once you get more advanced, you're going to be able to utilize this formula in many different ways by combining it with other formulas. So let's get started. I've got a little spreadsheet here which I've pulled from my accounting system. We've got a list of my internal order numbers, we've got the spend against each of those internal order numbers, and we've got the cost centers that they relate to. In this example, for some reason I was unable to pull forward the cost center description for each of these cost centers, but luckily in a second spreadsheet I have this list here. This shows me a cost center and it shows me the cost center description. So of course we could, if we wanted to, manually copy this first cost center relating to 1015. We could copy supply chain management and we could paste. But of course this is going to take us hours and hours and hours, especially if we've got 10,000 of lines of data. So that's where VLOOKUPs come into play. Basically what we're going to do, we're going to look up the cost center and then we're going to tell it to pull forward the cost center description here. So how do we do that? Well, let's look at the formula. So if we type equals VLOOKUP, first part of the formula is the lookup value. So the lookup value is what we want to look up. So we want to look up the cost center. So I'm going to click on the cost center cell, I'm going to do a comma, and the next step is the table array. So this is where we want to look for the cost center. So if I go into my book 2, we want to create a table like this. We want to just highlight the data, and basically that is all that we need for the table array. So we'll do a comma. The next part is the column index number. So what this means is which column do we want to pull the answer from. So basically we've only got one option here really, so it's column C, but the way it works is our table looked at columns B and column C. We need to pull forward column 2, so that would be 1, this would be 2, so comma 2, and then comma. The last part is the range lookup. 99% of the time you want to put false. False is if you are looking for a cost center with an exact match. True is if you want an approximate match. 99% of the time you're looking for an exact match. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to click false and I'm going to close brackets, and then hopefully, yeah, it's going to pull through supply chain management for this first cost center, and then all we need to do is copy this down, and it's going to do the same for all of the other internal order numbers. So let's do that again, but this time we want to know who the manager is of each of these cost centers. Now I've got another spreadsheet in Excel that lists each of the cost centers, it lists the profit center that they relate to, and there you go, it's got the managers. So we need to do exactly the same this time. Equals VLOOKUP. This time we're going to be looking at the cost center description. Okay, comma. We're going to be looking in this book 3. We want to do a table here. We're going to look up all of this data, comma. Which column are we looking at this time? Well, that was column 1. This is column 2. So we need to look up column 3 because we're looking for the managers. Comma, false. There you go. Close brackets. Now it pulls through the managers. So Now I'll show you the HLOOKUP. HLOOKUP isn't as common as VLOOKUP. You're going to be using VLOOKUPs 99% of the time. But basically the difference between the two is, of course, a VLOOKUP is a vertical lookup. So like we just did, we were looking along the vertical axis, and then we were looking horizontally when we were choosing our columns. In this example, we were looking for column 3. So let me just transpose this data, and you'll see this is the reason why we don't really use HLOOKUPs, because your data usually wouldn't look like this. This time we've got our cost center along the horizontal axis. We've got each of our cost centers along the horizontal axis. Last time we had them along the vertical axis. So we're going to do exactly the same thing, but this time, instead of VLOOKUP, let me just get rid of this. Instead of VLOOKUP, we're going to do equals HLOOKUP, comma. We're going to look up the value again, cost center description. Yes, comma. This time we're going to look in this table. We can just copy it all. But what column index are we going to use this time? Well, last time we counted across 1, 2, 3. This time we're looking horizontally. So we need to count downwards on the vertical axis to find the managers. So 1, 2, 3. So again, we're going to do column index 3, comma, false. And hopefully that should work, and it will pull through the managers. Okay, I hope that helps some of you guys. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe for more content. Thank you.